Make sure to subscribe to this channel for more videos like this.
Overachiever in a couple of locations. It brought a big swath of heavy snow, and this really got started here across parts of the Rockies, worked across the plains through parts of the Tennessee River Valley, and then worked its way into the mid-Atlantic and into the Northeast. Now, some of the heaviest snowfall totals were in parts of Tennessee on up into eastern parts of Kentucky. Everywhere that you see that purple color, that's more than 5 inches of snowfall. There were a couple of double-digit reports into eastern Kentucky, as well as into parts of West Virginia. Mill Creek, West Virginia, coming in at 14.5 inches a foot in Thomas, and even Lexington coming in just shy of 10 inches of snowfall. And there's that 6.3 inches we mentioned there in Nashville, typically getting just over 4.5 inches in a season. So this was a good one for you in Nashville. If you love snow, that had to have made you happy there. I know, not great for travel, but what do you do? And as for the Northeast, we had that big boost of snow. You know, we talked last night about the setup, how we are going to get these 2-inch per hour snowfall rates, and that really came into fruition, which allowed some of those big numbers in places like Boston. And I know it says 5.8 in New York City, but you did not have to go too far outside of New York, just to Long Island, to get really big numbers. In fact, nearly 10 inches just at LaGuardia. Newark just over 5, and then Philly comes in just shy of 3, and D.C. about 2.5. In fact, D.C., you've now had more snow in the last week than you had the last couple of winters. So there you can see Boston, that had just shy of 1/2 inch of snow. So making up for lost time, but believe it or not, Mark, this was not a record daily snowfall for Boston.
No.
Buffalo coming in with that 17.8 inches of snowfall, the second snowiest day for January for them on record. Also, by the way, I did check on conditions at Logan. 190-minute delays right now at the airport, so that's like 3 hours. Do the math. It's not looking good coming in and out, at least not on time. But we've got more wet weather, icy weather, and snowy weather that's going to be moving into the Northeast now this weekend. So we're getting a break in the action for most of your Saturday, but look what happens as we head towards your Sunday. You know it's very cold. We've got that Arctic air in place, and it's really tough to scour that out of the region. But we've got that southerly flow coming in, a warmer storm moving in, so that warm air is just going to ride over on top of that Arctic air, and we're going to get what we call freezing rain or ice. So this coats the roadways, this coats the power lines, everything with ice, and makes it very hazardous for travel. I do think places potentially even into Philadelphia in the morning early on Sunday, D.C., maybe Baltimore, could see a little bit of that, but improvements expected along I-95 later in the day. Adirondacks coming away with a handful of inches of snow out of this, but ice could be as much as 1/4 inch in a few spots. New Year's. I feel like wacky is kind of a fun word for what we've been experiencing, but it's really been extreme, from storms to snow to ice. There's really been a lot going on here, Mark.
Yeah, so let's talk about a little bit of what we've seen going on so far. It's only, what, a couple of weeks in to the year, and really as the year started, that was the fire, the Colorado fire that we were just talking about if you've been watching us here on Storm Center. And a reminder, President Biden and the First Lady are in Colorado right now meeting with some of those victims, and we're going to try to hear from them, getting some live pictures from them as they go through the burn scene.
Yeah, that was December 30th, so almost in 2022, but certainly still feeling all of the impacts from that. Now, in addition to the fire, we also saw some severe storms over the holiday weekend in parts of the South. Check out this video. There you can see the wall cloud, a little bit of a low hanging there. This was in Alabama, and we had a lot of severe weather to end, I think, last year, but also to start this year.
Yeah, it was a rough, New Year's weekend for sure. That dark cloud was really apparent, and we can show you some of the damage that we had coming in as well. In Hopkinsville, Kentucky, twisted metal roofs, torn off the buildings. First responders did an amazing job in so many of these cases where they were on the scene immediately. But what a way to start the year. I mean, it's just not fair when you see what town after town after town was dealing with that first weekend.
In Kentucky on so many different levels, I'd say, in the last couple of weeks. Now, we also have a look at what Winter Storm Frida did across parts of the east. We had snow and ice that stranded drivers across Virginia here on Interstate 95. Take a look at, it looks wet, but you know that that's icy and that's snowy and slushy. There you can see some people just walking down the middle of the highway, leaving their vehicles. They're like, I've had it. I'm going to try on foot because I'm obviously getting nowhere in the car.
And we've seen this time and time again. Once there's an accident, once there's a reason for a bunch of cars to be blocked, then the plows are blocked too. And so if the precipitation is still going, it's falling in between the cars. You crawl forward, you're compacting that snow down. It becomes a skating rink.
Right.
You force all of that snow down to the 1 inch of water that it may have been, or even, it doesn't take that much even. And you wind up with just a skating rink. And then it takes forever. You got to take one car out at a time. Then the treatment has to get put down again.
In there? You can't get them in there.
They got to come in from the other side. It's a mess when that happens. We need people to respect these warnings and stay off the road. 27
hours for some folks. Just incredible. All right. Well, to end the first full week of 2022, of course, we had Winter Storm Garrett, and we had semi-truck drivers having a very hard time on some of the roadways. The storm dumped a lot of snow. Places like Nashville that you see here, they had record snowfall. 6.3 inches fell in just one day. That was yesterday. Their annual average is 4.7. So I said yesterday it's a year's worth of snow in one day.
Impressive. They got it. They got it. It's not just Nashville either. DC has been clamoring for snow for like what feels like a decade. And now they've got more snow in the past couple of storms than they've had for years.
I think 4 inches away from their average annual snowfall. So getting close already, DC. A lot of snow lovers happy about that.
A lot of people are saying, okay, so what does this mean for the next several weeks? Can we kind of extrapolate this forward? What we can do, Jacqui, is look at the kind of the big picture, the movement of the air around through the mid-levels of the atmosphere. You can see where the warm air is, where the cold air is. We've been kind of trophy across the east, and there's hints that we'll try to repeat that. There is this big question mark, though. You see that, and you go, what is happening right here? There's a big ridge across the west, and then there's this. And that is a cutoff low. And sometimes that does crazy things to the jet stream. You'll see that try to get kind of sucked in to the rest of the pattern and maybe help drag down some cold air for everybody across the east. But you kind of add that all up with a wavy pattern, ups and downs and fleeting cold. And overall, most of the country is going to be pretty close to average. Yeah,
if that all comes together in just the right time, you get the trough in the east, that's the cold air that you need. Southerly tracking storms oftentimes will end up working their way up the coast sometimes. So if we get that to develop, we could potentially get some more big snows. But when you take a look at this, you don't see huge signals of a lot above or a lot below.
It's all about the timing. If we can get the cold air in.
We want you to send us your video of pictures on our social media platforms. You may see some of them right here live on our air. Make sure you use the hashtag TWC Storm Center. All right, we want to bring in our meteorologist, Mark Elliott, for a look at what's happening on the radar right now. We've had so much snow, not just in the east, but also in the west.
Yeah, and now it's just kind of insult on top of injury, rain and snow across the Pacific Northwest. They could use a break. There was some sort of animal on this.
Compared to where we were before.
What a change. There was some sort of animal on the beginning of that video that you were showing on the balcony. I don't know if it was a dog or a sheep. It was. I honestly couldn't tell. But whatever it was looking for higher ground because there was just so much water underneath. And so, again.
There it is. Oh, yeah.
What do you think? It's hard to tell. You've got better TVs at home than we do, and it moves by and it doesn't come back.
It's not going to be a sheep in somebody's house.
Well, unless that's a farm. And it went up the stairs. How could you tell? It's surrounded by water.
All right, you got me there.
In any case, it's probably a dog.
I see it, though, surrounding all those homes.
I know. So those are, buildings with livelihoods. There's some sandbags there across the way. I don't think it's going to hold back when it's that much water surrounding the building.
Okay, honestly, that looks like a goat.
Yes, it looked like some sort of farm animal.
I think it's a goat. It's got a little beard and everything.
But whatever it is, it's dry up there. So smart move, animal.
Animals know it, A lot of times they know it before we do.
Yeah. And again, there is some precipitation still coming in through the Pacific Northwest, and you need a break. For the worst hit areas, you're getting that break right now, which is good, but